All right, tonight we're going back, way back to 1951 and talking about Howard Hawks' The Thing from Another World. This is based off of the short story Who Goes There. Naturally, both of these are what John Carpenter's The Thing is based off of, which is, I think, my favorite horror movie of all time. It's on a lot of like all-time greatest horror movies of all time, number one on a lot of those lists. So I felt like this was almost a pilgrimage to go back and watch this to see where it all came from. Surprisingly, for whatever reasons, I'd never seen this before. So let's talk about it. So with this one, there's a lot of little cool things, and when you go back and watch it, you see the little bits and pieces that Carpenter pulled from to make the masterpiece that was The Thing. You see it at the very beginning here because this has the same title burn in like The Thing does, which I thought was really cool. It gets a little bit different from there. So this one starts off in Anchorage, Alaska. There are these Air Force soldiers that are there, and they get a call from saying that there was a plane crashed up in the North Pole outpost, and they need to go up there and check it out to bring some dogs with them. So that's another little nugget that comes out of this. What I noticed pretty quick in this, besides the hey, that type of speech that was common in 1951 movies, especially like science fiction films, was they really went in on this. I just did a quick search. I couldn't find like a budget or anything like that. But I was impressed with the production value, especially once they get up to the outpost. I was like, man, okay, they actually really took this seriously and kind of went in on it, which was pretty cool. So once they get up there, they find that it starts being referenced with Geiger counter readings with some radioactivity. So, they say that this thing went down. We need to take your Air Force plane that's on skis and stuff, as opposed to helicopters. And we're going to fly out to this crash site and see what it is. So they get out there, and this was actually a really cool part. They get out there, and they find that there's this big UFO, or this round shape that's went into the ice and is slightly below it, but you still have this perfect circle. And they can kind of see down into the ice, and they're like, holy shit, that's a flying saucer. This is pretty gnarly. They take some thermite to try to burn out to get to it, and they wind up blowing the ship up, which is silly.
What a story. Where's that ray? Hey, Barn! Hold it, Scott. Sorry, no private messages. What do you mean private? I'm going to send it to the whole world. I wish you could, but this is Air Force information. We'll have to wait for authority to let you file a story. Why, you've got your authority in the Constitution of the United States.
And then they look down and they see that there's a humanoid creature trapped in the ice. So they cut that out, get him in a big old block, and they take him back to the station. This is where it gets a little bit different, and I'd love to hear like John Carpenter's take on why he went the way he went. But in this story, so they take this thing back, and it's a big-ass block of ice, and then, naturally one of the stupid-ass soldiers accidentally tries to cover it up so he have to look at the creature in there, and it's an electric blanket, so it rapidly melts this ice cube. This thing gets out, kills some of the dogs, and one of the, in this fight with the dogs rips its arm off, and it runs out into the snow. It's like a humanoid creature. This is what he looks like. So, they did the best. But what starts to get interesting is where they really start kind of going into the science on this, and they explain that in this hand of his, that's the science officer that's up there quickly determines after examining it, he's like, oh, this is like plant material. So they shot it, before it did do anything to it. And he's like, oh, it's basically like shooting a carrot. You're not going to kill it like that. And then they say that it had these like seed pods in its hands that apparently it drinks blood. That was the recurring thing in there. So this one didn't have the paranoia, where it infects a person. I thought that's where it was going to go originally, where they said seed pods, but that never really played out. It did sort of have little droppings, I guess, that they were able to kind of grow these little plants out of that I'm assuming was going to lead to this thing. It's how it like reproduces, like a plant. And its blood was like tree sap, they said, which is like some plants use that to attract things like predatory plants, and then they feed on it. So that was kind of their explanation for it. And then towards the end of it, it gets like super cornball, but in a fun way, from these like 50s movies where, they know they can't shoot it. They've tried to hit it with axes and stuff, and it doesn't really do anything to them. So they come up with the idea that they have to burn it. So, there you go. There's even a passing comment in there about a flamethrower, which never shows up. They wind up throwing kerosene on the thing, setting the guy on fire, and he's running around. But he survives that. And then they come up with the notion that the only way to kill this dude is to shit rig this electrical arc trap to bait it into it, and then they electrocute it and fry it down into nothing, basically. But what was cool about that part was the little tunnels and stuff that all that happened in. You can definitely tell that there was some inspiration taken for the Outpost. Was it 36? 31 or 36 from The Thing. But yeah, so that was kind of what this one's about. It was a fun movie to watch, mainly just to see where the greatness comes from. And you can definitely see throughout this that they pick little bits and pieces on it. There's some of this typical, like, there's a girl up there and there's a little romance thing. And, you know, it's pretty corny with some of that type of stuff. But, you know, it's a 50s sci-fi movie. They were pretty much all like that. I watched this on Tubi. So if you want to go check it out and join me in the pilgrimage that I made and pay homage to the greatness, which is The Thing, highly recommend that you go back and check out Thing from Another World on Tubi. And if you've seen it, let me know what you think. If you haven't, go give it a watch. It's a fun one. You can watch this one probably with kids. I mean, it's not really scary at all. But it's because of my love for The Thing, this one gets a lot of just bonus points going into it. So there you go. The Thing from Another World on Tubi from 1951. Until next time, you guys have a great one. Stay weird. Follow me. Share this. All that jazz. Catch you soon.